And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in this room. It's I, John Dean,
Kanika,
a.k.a. And Too Much Podcast.
We had so much oomph in it.
Rescripting the culture one conversation at a time. Good morning, my love. How are you?
Are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Got another week before I get a little mini vacation. Don't you get one?
Mine is way minier than yours, though.
Well, look at you. Oh, my God. When we start comparing people's vacations, I know something's wrong. Would you rather I go to work?
No, I mean, you know. You work with so many people throughout the day. I guess you deserve to have more time, you know.
Something else. Anyway, what's on your mind this morning?
Okay, so I'm tired. I stayed up last night to watch Mike Tyson and J. Ball. Yeah. And first of all, I'm too old to stay up. Unless I have a nap in the afternoon, I'm too old to stay up. That whole leading up to it, it was taking me down. Like, I was so tired. But I was watching a fight last night, and early on, I think we all could see what was probably going to happen, hoping that, I don't know, I'm a kid that grew up with Iron Mike Tyson. So it didn't matter that my boy was 58. I was in here like, he's going to come in here and he's going to, you know, you watch the little clips where he's like killing somebody, like, you know, all the stuff that he's doing. And it was interesting. They end up making a decision after the 8 rounds. And when they were doing an interview with Mike, he said, I just don't have the fighting guts anymore. He was like, you know, I'm doing this to pay my bills, but I'm too conscious. I'm like, I don't have the ferocity. I'm not that animal anymore. And he said, I mean, I have the capability of staying in shape, but to go out there and fight, that's just not me anymore. And I thought it was such a beautiful thing to hear from him because, number one, you see him I think that he was convinced a lot that he was the animal too. Like, we still think of him as the beast that will go in there and take somebody's head off. Mm-hmm. And I loved that in the end, when he looked back at it, he said, you know, early on, I knew that this wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? But you want to finish because he's Mike Tyson, so he wants to finish. But what caught me is when he said, I can keep my body in shape, but I'm not meant to fight like that anymore. And he said, I'm not that animal. I don't have that ferocity anymore. I'm conscious. And I have, you know, kids and you know, I'm thinking about them. And it was so interesting to me to have this view of who Mike Tyson is. And recently, like, I've watched some of his podcasts and stuff and listened to him talk. And sometimes the gruffness that we associate with him shows up in some of his comments or whatever. But there's he's far more multidimensional than people that grew up with him being Iron Mike really acknowledge. Like, he's grown, but he still looks like and feels like Iron Mike. So it's weird to look at him now and see him say, you know, that part of my life is behind me. Mm-hmm. And I might look like this, but that's not, I don't have, it's like that spirit in him to rip somebody's head off is just not fair. And I really love the growth of it. Like, you were talking about his monologue on Broadway or something. I'm not familiar with it, but it sounds like the dimensions that I'm thinking are there. It was late on that.
I think I forgot how many years ago. It's been a long time, but that was probably the beginning of him sharing the growth in his journey from the person that most of us remember him as. Mm-hmm. He went really in depth in his trauma and what he grew up around and how he viewed life. And I know you said you enjoyed the growth, but it's crazy that it took 58 years and his body isn't the same anymore. So you got to think about how many more years he actually has in that body. But I do believe his spirit's a lot better. I think he's more confident in the way that he believes or feels versus the person he was before, to keep that ferocity in him, to want to mangle people.
You know, the thing that was interesting to me was, I remember you were recently talking to me about the story of how he used to take care of birds. And I don't know, it might have been last year, a year before that. You remember when we talked about who would you be uninterrupted? Like, if you got all green lights and no red lights, who would you be? And I feel like whenever you see the vulnerable moments in him, it lets you know that really Iron Mike in the animal he had to be was who he had to be.
Oh, yeah.
But he was interrupted. And, you know, for now, it appears that he can really just like be about himself. And he's more than just somebody that, a tool. He's more than just somebody that can make people money, beat up on somebody. There's so much more to him. The humanization of him across, it was so weird because when I was getting ready for the fight, in my head, I'm still thinking about when I was little. Mm-hmm. And I still saw the same person, like even though he was like an older version, in all of the promos and stuff, I still saw the same person. And then at the end, when he's talking, I'm like, this is just like us. Like, we don't have the same ferocity for a lot of things that we were like really excited and like gunning for when we were younger. We're not built for that type of risk and recklessness in order to see what you know, you might get a bigger reward. But we're not built for that anymore. And now it's like we're here, we're slowing down, we're more thoughtful. It was just interesting. I don't know. In listening to him, I was like, it's like when your superhero becomes human. And you're like, wow.
So when you say we, are you referring to our peer group or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, and I think one of the things about it is that he was a part of our childhood. So in him, I saw a reflection of where we are. Like, I can't stay up. We were just talking about, so we had homecoming a few weeks ago, and we were talking about how, why can't people do day parties? Why are y'all not trying to do day parties right now? I am old. I'm not the oldest I can be, but I am older, and I don't want to leave and be out there at 9, 11 o'clock at night. I love a day party, but we will not do a daggum day party. But see, I don't have it in me. And so it makes me think about other stuff. Like, I don't have it in me to do some of the work to change my career. I have the intellect. I have that in me. But the stress and the strain and the extra push you got to do to switch. I switched careers a few times. Like, I don't have it in me to do that anymore. If I'm going to make a pivot, it's going to be a pivot. And I ain't making no leap to do anything. Like, it's going to have to be some transferable skills that's going over here. But it's not like, you know what my real passion was? I used to say that if I were uninterrupted, I think I would have been an author or a book editor. I don't have it in me to do that now.
Why?
Because I know that because the idea of, if you are successful, book tours and doing all of that traveling stuff, I hate traveling. I do. I hate traveling. Not even traveling. I like to travel, but the idea of interacting with a lot of people, I don't. You interact with the people at the airport, you interact with people at the hotel, you're at the restaurants, then you're at the events and stuff, and you're talking to people. And that's me saying, if everything went 100% successful, the extent of what people want from me, my capacity is not there anymore. Also, like when somebody wants you, like having deadlines, I used to be able to stay up all night and do what I had to do for school, do what I had to do for whatever. I couldn't imagine somebody putting like a hard, fast deadline on me and creativity. Like, because there are a lot of things you could pursue and it doesn't go 100% in the way you want it to. And I may never have a book tour and I may never have this or have that. But if you're working toward it, then that means that you understand that that's a possibility. You don't want to go into something and say, if I'm a mediocre writer, cool. You want to go in and people to see your creativity. I don't have it. And I don't have it to knock out deadlines and force my creativity into the confines of other people. I am far less flexible than I used to be in my youth. So a lot of things that I wouldn't have a problem taking a risk on when we were younger. Like, we were younger, I was a social worker. And then when we moved to Atlanta, I was a foster care family recruiter, because it's very hard to find foster families for teenagers and large sibling groups of 3 or more. Yes, 3 is considered large. And so when I left that position, I started teaching. And it wasn't bad. I mean, sure, I can move real quick into teaching. Had nothing to do with social work other than I was dealing with kids, but okay. Learning the content, figuring out how to teach them, doing all other stuff. Okay, I could figure that out. Then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then full time, I went into nursing school. Like, staying up to studying nursing, the nursing program, they would say, is one of the hardest programs to get through for any degree program. And I was like, I told John, hey, I just need 2 years. If I can do 2 years, then I'll get this degree and then we can go on about our business. And then they were like, hey, do you want to do the accelerated program? You can get out in 16 months. Yeah, I'll do that. I don't know. I couldn't do that now. But there were people in my class, my cohort at the time, that were in their 50s and 60s, and they were doing it. They were doing it all. I just don't have it in me. But it's like, I really, really recognized that a lot of the times when I look at myself, I'm not really honest. And I really think that I'm still young and I'm still flexible and able to kind of convert to new directions like easily. But truthfully, if you would have seen Mike, you would see him like, he tried to get some footwork in there, like get a little bit more bounce into him, but you could see that it wasn't as fluid as it used to be. And I'm not like that either. Mm-hmm. So it was like,
Is that, at this age, is it a good thing that you're not that fluid? Because you work to get to a point where you don't have to be as fluid as when you're young.
Yeah, I think so. I don't mind it. It's just
efficient.
I don't mind getting to a point where I'm not as flexible to transition from one thing to another. Like I worked to get to this point where I wouldn't feel like I needed to do anything like that. But it's kind of like recognizing your mortality to me. That's what it kind of felt like. And even in this sense, like you recognize that with age comes limitations and some are self,
imposed.
Yeah, imposed. And sometimes it's your body is saying, you want to do it, but.
So with you, is it your body or is it self-imposed?
It depends on what I would want to do. There's certain things that have always been, it doesn't matter my age, it's always been a battle for me because it's inside my head. But yeah, there's some things like, I'm not going to learn the Tamia blind dance. I'm not going all the shuffling. I'm not going to learn that. There's certain things that it's just not, I can't even process it. No, I just cannot process it. It doesn't matter how slow somebody, how people would show you and they slow down and be like, when I think about you, they be like, oh.
So when was the last time somebody taught you a dance? Well, you said it as if somebody's done it recently and you realize you don't have it, but.
No, because every time I see it, I try. Like when I see it online, I'll like try to follow the video, especially if they do it slowly.
Have you ever learned to dance by watching TV?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like
when we were younger, you remember we used to record videos.
But you had people doing it with you and you were like doing it repetitively and you weren't judging yourself as much either. You're judging yourself because you're not learning it as quickly as you remember when you were younger.
Yeah.
You're not even a dancer, so it's going to take a little more longer. It's going to take a little longer. Like, I could see if you into the groove and you're like, oh, now I just do this. Oh, it's like everything's nipple.
Yeah, I think it's been over 15 years since somebody has taught me something.
What was that?
It was a line dance.
So for real?
Yeah. It wasn't like some of the line dancers now. I just don't. I can't even catch how they even figured out that they wanted to do that.
Oh yeah, they different.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
But like enough about me. So do you find anything like when I was having you listen to that interview today, did anything strike you about yourself, or do you feel like you still have that ability?
Yeah, I think I can still do anything I want, but it comes within reason. Like, I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna require me using my body, like physical strength and all of that. Like, I'm at the age where I'm trying to preserve as much as I can, and I want to use it for just walking, getting out of the bed. The idea that I would go train and do some competition, some Ironman contest, like, it's cool, but like, how many years am I cutting off on the end in my mind? I know some people say, you need to push the body. I don't want to push the body. I want to push myself mentally. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of the things that I'm doing, and I don't really need anybody around, and I can still push myself. Mm-hmm. So to me, I feel like as long as my brain is constantly learning, then I'll be able to like continue to evolve. But I don't think about my body anymore. Only time I do that when somebody say, do you still hoop? No.
Wait, my younger brother, you couldn't tell him nothing. That joker used to play, and he would be the first one to be like, hey, I ain't trying to roll an ankle. Ain't nobody trying to get hurt. But I also have another cousin his age, and he still plays.
Oh, I know. But see, but this is what I worry for them, because when I hear interviews from professional athletes, they're in awe about what LeBron James is still doing. And they say, I have trouble going to the bathroom. And he's younger than me. I mean, he's older than me. Yeah. And like my body's like this. So when I hear, people that's still doing that, they tell me I love the game so much. I know, but I like walking by myself, like without assistance. Yeah. Like I remember hearing older people complain about their bones aching. Yeah. And it's like, I don't ever want that part. And I feel like athletes get it way younger. And like I understand, I love the game, but I love the idea that I think I'm gonna be safer when I get out the bed than they are, as we get older. And so yeah, I don't think about anything like that. I think bowling was the last thing that I thought, and that my hip was hurting, and I was like, I don't like this.
I mean, your hip has been hurting for a while, though. It's not like it.
But it was from bowling, though.
Yeah.
When?
How old were you when you did the Tough Mudder?
41.
Really?
Yeah. I might be a lie.
I might be lying.
I don't know. I think I was 40. Because it was like maybe the third year we were there. Because Trey came in the second year, so he was there for a year. Third year, yeah. So I was like 40 because we moved when I was 30. I was 37.
Yeah. So on your team, who was how old was the oldest? Yeah. How old was? So if you're 40, then how old is he then?
AD is 11 years older than me.
So he was in his 50s.
Yes.
Wow.
But he's a former military officer, so his protocol is a little different.
His setup is 88 older from a regular 51-year-old. That's very true. Shout out 80. So yeah, the Tough Mudder. What is that done in the U.S. too?
Oh yeah, I think here it's longer though.
Oh okay.
Yeah, ours is probably half of theirs, but
that thing looked crazy.
I did feel accomplished doing it. I thought it was easier though. I thought it was easier than I anticipated it to be.
Oh, okay.
But I was actually working out for that. But after that, I was like, okay, like I don't have to do this anymore. I really wanted.
This is cool.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was. I thought it was fun. I really did. I thought it was fun, but I don't think that it's necessary. Like I can find some other piece somewhere else.
So you were a basketball player, no more. You were a bowler.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying that it's not as you don't use as much in your body.
In the league, you're not doing it consistently.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not there. I won't ever get back to that. I'll do chess.
Chess. Yes, chess. Okay.
But overall, as being at this age, I can't believe how close I am to 50. And watching him, like I said, like it was like he looked like a 58-year-old. No, I don't want to look like that at 58.
Yeah.
And I hate that he said that I'm doing this to pay bills for my family, because you would think that, well, he's definitely living outside of his means if he's making that much money from this fight to take care of bills. Because he makes enough money to change a bunch of people's lives, but you know, to put your body on the line for them to live that lifestyle.
Well, but I don't know the extent of what he meant by it, though. But
no, I'm just saying, if you're putting your body at risk for that, and then he says it out loud.
Well, then when they were like, "So are we gonna see fight again?" He was like, "No,"
because
like even for the money, yeah.
I did. He does have other things, but this is a payday.
It is
like one of those things where like maybe I don't want to do this anymore, and I can just ride out in the sunset.
Yeah.
Let me get a payday like that and see. Like I'll finish the school year out, but I'm going to do everything I said I was going to do if I get that payday.
Yeah.
So to me, like if somebody said, "Hey, you think you could fight Mike Tyson for that payday?" Not at this age, I can't. Like I couldn't do it when I was younger, let alone at this age. I don't want that payday that way.
No, I don't. Look, I don't care. And leave that to the youngin.
For sure.
That really wants to do it, because even at this age, like I was looking at him punch and I was like, still got some weight behind it though.
No, yeah. And I do want to say, like, I do know that he took all the training of a professional boxer.
Well, and that's what he said. He said, I could definitely be in shape for it. I'm just not meant. I don't have it to be out there. Yeah. And I think that goes along with how I feel about a lot of things. Like I just don't have that extra oomph in me I'm like, let somebody else do it. And then I get back in my, more comfortable, sensible things for where you are in life. Like high risk actions for me are just not desirable anymore. But I really want Day in Dallas to like go for the gusto, knowing that we're here. You know what I mean? And that's another thing is I was having a guided turn up. My risks were not super risky when I was younger because I had to think about, did I have a net? Like I couldn't do a full 4-year nursing program. But when you and I talked and you were like, I can handle it without you working for the 2 years, I can do it. It was like, okay, guided risk, because it was that calculated, like, okay, I can do that. I don't just run and jump and be like, no, this is what I want to do. But when you talk to the kids about what they want to do, you're always like, Day, if you want to be an artist, like you just need to go for it. And you need to, like, you make it seem like the risk is worth the reward. Like, go take the risk. And I think that I love that they can feel like they have that support behind them in us. And we're capable of like saying, yeah, I can hold you down for that. I always felt like that with my mom. Like my mom, I didn't talk to her about the risks I would take, but there were certain things that I was like, if something goes bad, I know she'll help me. But I wasn't gonna put her in a horrible position. Like it was only so much risk I was willing to take and bet that she could catch me. And the same with you. Like when we started so fast. House, kid, everything. Like you can't just be like, hey, we just gonna do whatever. You know what I mean? There were other, like we had to be able to pay for daycare. We had to be able to pay for this, pay for that. So yeah, risks are very calculated. But I'm glad that the kids are gonna be able to like really go for the gusto and be risky in their younger years. It's fun watching them like coming into, I'm not dying, but coming into my sunset of that idea of I can do anything. I'm really starting to realize, and some of y'all are probably like, girl, you should have realized that a long time ago. I never thought about it. And then I started thinking I was like, oh, yeah, you're not there anymore, boo. But now we get to watch them be risky. Let the guy get turned up.
I hope. I'll say I was about to say what's the biggest risk you took, but outside of, well, it was still guided, like you said. What is the biggest risk you took? Going to DC?
I didn't feel like that was risky. When I graduated grad school, I moved to DC, but my cousin was there, so I still felt safe. It was a good time though. My biggest risk was moving to Atlanta with you with no family down there, and we were having a baby because nobody could get to me fast enough, and it was just you and I. We had not been in the same state for years. And I was supposed to just go, even though I loved you to death, I was just supposed to go and expect that if anything went wrong, you had me. That was the ultimate risk for me.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Rick, what about you?
I don't know. I everything I did, I thought I was supposed to just do. I didn't look at it as a risk. Oh, no, I guess no. When I came back and I wasn't trying to work because
I was like, sir, I'm going to need you to turn and burn. I need you to figure out something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that was a risk.
So I'm going to tell you why it was a risk, because I was getting all these messages. You got to believe in yourself. You got to work. You got to create this routine. And I had it right, but I didn't do it long enough to develop. Like even all the things we've done to this point, we were nowhere near then, but my mindset was like, this is where we are. And I was like, I believe in everything I've read, everything that they say, they're talking about me. And I still believe in those things, but I wasn't prepared, and I needed, I did. I thought you didn't believe in this. I thought you didn't believe in me. Like it was just, these things was like, you got to do this by yourself. And you can't invite people in because they're going to be negative. They're going to be naysayers. I'm like, she's one of them. And it was me needing to be checked. And you gave me that. And I was like, I'm not there yet. Why am I compromising our family? Thinking like, just because I found this new way of life that we've earned everything that I thought we were supposed to get. So I think that's the only one that I was not prepared to actually do. I didn't know what it entailed.
And that was definitely a time. That's, I think, the first time, even before you came back, when we came back, it was the first time that we were truly living well below our means. And so,
oh yeah, for sure.
It was also a calculated risk. It was a guided turn up for you too, because there was no fear that we were going to lose anything if you weren't working. But I was looking like,
I don't want to live like this though.
Yeah, I'm doing this to support, but player, I'm trying to get out of here. So yeah, that was something else. Yeah, and I didn't think that, like, when it was coming time, because we had agreed on a time period and was coming close to time, he wasn't saying anything. And I was looking like, because I want to be supportive. So I didn't want to be like, hey, so about that W-2. But at the same time, it was I wanted to feel like, hey.
I think that because it was before us really starting to communicate as far as like how we're feeling, what our
we were still.
Yeah, we were like, so to me, I mean, now it wouldn't be a problem because it's easier for us to discuss our feelings and what we're thinking about. But yeah, then it was, I remember when I first told you that, I was like, I don't want you to feel that way. No, like we have things to do. And he was just like, I had to hear it because I was just so gung-ho, like I was right. I'm going to take my family here. Like I have the formula. And I was like, she don't understand. And then it was just like, I was just like lit. Like I said, you hear these messages. And then when I realized I was tripping, but I stayed on the path. I just needed to at least keep you at peace financially. And
that was a big risk for me too. When you came back and your whole mind frame changed, I told my friends in the first few weeks he came back, I was crying a lot. I was like, I don't even know who he is. Like, I don't know this guy. And it wasn't like he was a bad guy. He just wasn't the crazy person that I'd had all my life. So I was like, who is this mentally stable individual? What is happening? No, but it's just when you have someone that's going 100 miles an hour all the time, and then you have someone that comes home and wants to meditate, you're like, what? And then he wants to, like, you used to talk in passing and joke, and maybe you'll watch a show or whatever, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're going on that walk, I'm gonna go with you. Oh, you're going to do that, I'm gonna go with you. I was like, who is this dude? So for me, there was even a risk in when you came back because I was feeling so crazy. And I was like, I don't think I could do this.
I know you told me, you said, I gave you 6 months.
Hey, I gave you 6 months, my dude. It's time. It's done time. But even in the 6 months, that period, I was so disoriented by so much change going on between how you and I interacted. I was like, I can't. I don't know. And it wasn't really a risk because you were there. You were supporting the household, even if you weren't working. You were like managing the household. I didn't even have to think in regards to that. And then when you started working, it didn't feel like as much of a risk because there was, we already had this family established. The kids got their dad back in the house, and we're all in the same country. And like we're all operating. So it was kind of like I was making a decision at that time because I really didn't recognize you. I mean, I did it. It's like marrying a new person. And even though, I might have felt different to you. I don't know. But I know you really felt different to me. In that moment, my risk was I could either break early because this doesn't feel familiar, or I could continue to go on. And like, then we bought a house, and I was like, if we're going to buy a house, like I have to know that I know that, the path we're going on feels like something that it feels natural.
Yeah.
But by the time we had gotten to that point where we really started talking about buying a house, it's like my anxiety went down. I was like, okay, he's not risky. It is a different person, but it's not. It's still John, but the presentation was so different. The focus, the way you came at me about things were so different, but it still smelled like you. The bare bones of it was still John. And so, yeah, that was a risk too. Yeah.
No. Well, I'm glad you took it.
Me too.
Yeah, because I definitely would be a different person if you didn't take that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so it's still a risk there. It's just really low.
Yeah, it makes sense at our old age. We should be taking low risk investments.
We should. Well, no, but unless it's in the investments within ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Like I believe that every high risk investment for yourself is worth it, no matter what age, unless it's like you don't have the ability to do it. If you have the ability and it's not going to like hurt you physically, you're supposed to do it because it's like you create your own bubble. You create your own ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do it. Okay. So there's your ceiling. So to me, I feel like if you want to do it, if you don't, you don't even know how you would feel once you do it. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like every risk toward the investment towards yourself is well worth it, because even if you don't succeed what you thought, it's way better than what you did before you started.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
AD and the Tough Mudder.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember watching it when you guys were in it, and I was like, but you did remind me he's a military man, so it makes sense. But he was pushing through that thing. But yeah, so hi AD.
Shout out to Delta Nu, the Qs in the Middle East. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or the action will get after you. Be great on purpose.